Welcome to my YouTube channel. Subscribe. If you knew. Billionaire's credit card test. The three women. Chapter 1. The Billionaire's Secret. Adrian Blackwood was a man who had everything the world could offer. Wealth beyond imagination, an empire stretching across industries, a mansion on the coast that looked like something out of a dream, and a lifestyle most only saw in movies. Yet, for all his riches, one thing eluded him: trust. He had been burned before. Women who claimed to love him had turned out to love his bank account more than his soul. Some had stayed long enough to secure a luxury car or a diamond necklace. Others left after draining his generosity. Adrian had learned the hard way that money could buy attention, but it couldn't buy loyalty. And so, he devised a test. It was bold, unconventional, and perhaps even cruel. But Adrian believed it was the only way to uncover truth in a world clouded by deception. He would give his credit card, an unlimited black card with no spending restrictions, to three women. Each woman was different. Each had shown interest in him. And he would watch silently from the shadows, waiting to see what they would do. Would they spend recklessly on themselves, or would they think of him? Would they see the card as an opportunity, or a responsibility? This, Adrian thought, would reveal their character. Chapter 2. The Three Women. Adrian had met them in different circumstances. Isabella was a fashion model, strikingly beautiful with a magnetic smile. She thrived in the glamorous world of lights and cameras, where luxury was the currency of relevance. When Adrian met her at a charity gala, she had charmed him with witty banter and elegance. He wondered, did she like him, or just his status? Claire was different. A literature professor at a prestigious university, she was calm, intellectual, and uninterested in the showiness of wealth. Adrian had met her during a book launch, where her thoughtful analysis of a novel caught his attention. She was the kind of woman who seemed to live in a world of ideas rather than material possessions. Sophia, on the other hand, was bold and fiery. She was a rising entrepreneur, running a small cafe she had built with her own hands. Adrian admired her independence and relentless drive. She had once refused his offer to buy her a larger space, insisting she wanted to grow with her own effort. Three women. Three personalities. Three possibilities. Adrian invited each of them separately to his mansion under different pretenses. And when the moment came, he slid the same sleek black credit card across the table, his eyes watching closely. "This card," he said, "has no limit. I want you to take it. Use it however you wish, for 1 month. At the end of that time, I'll ask for it back." Their reactions varied. Isabella's eyes widened with delight, Claire's brows furrowed in suspicion, and Sophia's lips pressed into a line as if unsure whether to be insulted or intrigued. Isabella's choice. The first week was Isabella's playground. She had always loved fashion, but with Adrian's card, the world of couture opened like never before. She flew first class to Paris, shopping at Dior, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton. She bought designer gowns worth more than most people's yearly salaries. She flaunted her shopping sprees on social media, hashtags buzzing with envy and admiration. But Adrian noticed something. Not once did Isabella buy something for him. Not once did she ask what he might need or desire. Her focus was entirely on herself, her image, her spotlight, her pleasure. When she returned from her Paris trip, she threw a private party in his mansion, uninvited, using his staff and his wine collection to impress her friends. Adrian watched from the shadows, unseen, his heart heavy. Was this what love meant to her? A chance to live like a queen until the card was gone. Chapter 4. Claire's Choice. Claire held the card in her hand as if it were a dangerous weapon. For 2 days, she didn't touch it. When she finally did, it wasn't for jewelry or clothing. She used it to buy books, rare collections she had dreamed of owning but could never afford. She donated to her university's library fund. She even sponsored a scholarship for underprivileged students, all under Adrian's name. She lived modestly during that month, as she always had. She didn't travel, didn't splurge, didn't change her wardrobe. Instead, she quietly redirected wealth into knowledge, education, and opportunities for others. Adrian felt a stir of admiration. Watching her actions was like witnessing a soul untouched by greed. But then came the twist. One evening, while Adrian followed discreetly, he overheard her speaking to a colleague. "Yes, it's his card," she said softly. "I don't know what he's playing at, but if this is his way of trying to control me, then I'll turn it into something he can't claim as his achievement. This money will change lives, not his image." Adrian froze. Her intentions weren't selfish, but neither were they for him. She saw the card not as a gift, but as a tool in a game she refused to lose. Sophia's choice. Sophia was different from the start. She held the card but didn't use it immediately. For days, she continued running her cafe, working long hours, smiling at her customers, serving coffee with the same passion as before. When she finally used the card, it wasn't for herself. She renovated the cafe, expanded the seating, upgraded equipment, improved wages for her employees. She even started a free breakfast program for homeless people in her neighborhood. But what struck Adrian most was her humility. She never told anyone it was his money. When her employees asked how she managed to afford the upgrades, she simply said, "A little help came my way. That's all." One evening, Adrian entered the cafe unannounced. He saw her wiping tables after closing, tired but content. She hadn't bought herself a single luxury item. Not a bag, not a shoe, not a dress. Instead, she had poured everything into her dream and into people around her. When Adrian asked her why she hadn't used the card for herself, she smiled faintly. "Because it's not mine," she said. "And because happiness isn't in things, Adrian. It's in building something real." His chest tightened. For the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him. Trust. Chapter 6. The Reckoning. At the end of the month, Adrian gathered the 3 women in his mansion. They didn't know each other, nor did they know they had been part of the same test. He looked at Isabella first. "You spent millions on fashion, parties, and trips. Did you think of me at all?" Isabella laughed lightly. "Darling, life is meant to be enjoyed. You have so much money, why not spend it? I thought you wanted me to live like a queen." His heart sank. He turned to Claire. "You donated, you funded libraries, you created scholarships. Admirable, truly. But tell me, did you do it for us, or for you?" Claire lifted her chin. "I did it because I refused to be a pawn in your games. If you wanted to buy me, Adrian, you failed. I don't love you, and no card will change that." Her honesty cut deep, but it was the truth. Finally, he turned to Sophia. "You used it for your cafe. You helped people. You never once thought of yourself. Why?" Sophia looked at him steadily. "Because love isn't proven by how much someone spends. And because if you gave me that card to see if I'd lose myself in greed, you should know by now that I won't." Silence filled the room. Adrian knew the answer. Chapter 7. The Decision. In the end, Adrian returned his card to his wallet. Isabella stormed out, angry that her efforts to dazzle him had failed. Claire left quietly, her pride intact, her mission accomplished. Sophia stayed. Not because she wanted his money, but because she saw him, not the billionaire, not the empire, not the black card, but the man who longed for something real. Adrian walked to her, his heart vulnerable in a way it hadn't been in years. "You passed the test," he whispered. Sophia shook her head. Restlessness in the mansion. After the test ended and Sophia stayed behind, Adrian thought his heart would finally rest. He had found the woman who wasn't blinded by money, the one who didn't see him as a walking vault. But peace, he realized, was not so easily won. Isabella wasn't done. Humiliated by rejection, she returned to the glamorous world of parties, but whispers followed her. People speculated why Adrian Blackwood had suddenly cut ties. Some guessed she had betrayed him. Others whispered she had failed him in some secret way. Isabella's pride couldn't handle it. She vowed she would ruin his trust in Sophia. Claire, too, was restless. Though she had walked away with her dignity intact, she found herself replaying the encounter in her mind. She had told Adrian she didn't love him and wouldn't be bought, but deep inside, she wasn't immune to him. His seriousness, his brokenness, had stirred something she hadn't expected. She buried herself in her books, but the thought of Sophia standing by him made her uneasy. Adrian felt the current shifting, though he said nothing. He knew both women might return in some way. And so, he prepared himself. Chapter 9. Isabella's Return. It was a gala night again, the kind Adrian usually avoided unless business required his presence. Sophia had persuaded him to attend, reminding him that showing his face in society mattered for his empire's reputation. Adrian arrived with Sophia at his side, her simple yet elegant gown drawing as much attention as any jewel-encrusted dress in the room. Whispers began instantly. "Who is she?" She's not a model, not an heiress. Is she his new love? And then Isabella appeared. Stunning, dressed in a gown that shimmered like molten silver. Her smile was practiced, her steps confident. She approached Adrian and Sophia as though nothing had ever gone wrong. "Adrian," she said smoothly, her eyes flicking briefly to Sophia. "It's been too long." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Isabella." Her gaze fell on Sophia, sizing her up. "And you must be the woman who replaced me. I must admit, you don't look like his type." Sophia's lips curved into a small, calm smile. "That's because I'm not here to be a type." The sharpness of the reply caught Isabella off guard, though she recovered quickly. She leaned close to Adrian, lowering her voice. "You'll regret this," she whispered. "You think she's pure, but everyone has a price." Adrian stepped back, his eyes hard. "And yours was revealed a long time ago." But Isabella wasn't one to retreat. She would strike again. Chapter 10. Claire's Conflict. Meanwhile, Claire wrestled with herself. She told herself she didn't want Adrian's world of wealth and tests. Yet, at night, she remembered his eyes, lonely, searching, vulnerable. She convinced herself she should meet him one last time, if only to find closure. She wrote him a letter, delivered by hand, asking for a conversation. Adrian read it in his study late at night. Sophia Nodick. The meeting. The next afternoon, Adrian met Claire at a quiet cafe. She wore no makeup, her hair tied back simply, but her eyes glowed with a sharp intelligence that reminded him of their first meeting. "I had to see you," Claire confessed, her voice steady. "Not because I want your money. I still don't. But because I can't stop thinking about you." Adrian exhaled slowly. "Claire, I respect you deeply. You stood your ground, and I'll always admire that. But my path, it's with Sophia now." Her face fell, though she tried to mask it. "You've made your choice then." "I have," Adrian said gently. Claire nodded, tears threatening but refusing to fall. "Then I'll go back to my books. At least they don't betray me." As she walked away, Adrian felt a pang of sorrow. He had hurt her, though he hadn't meant to. But life rarely gave happiness to everyone at once. Chapter 12. Shadows of Doubt. Days passed peacefully. Sophia continued running her cafe. Adrian spent time helping expand it into a chain, and for once, he felt life had balance. But shadows lingered. Isabella wasn't finished. She hired a private investigator to dig into Sophia's past, hoping to find dirt. Anything to prove Sophia was no better than her. And then she found it, or thought she did. A photo surfaced from years ago, showing Sophia at a party with a wealthy businessman, laughing, holding a glass of champagne. Isabella spread it across society gossip circles, whispering that Sophia had once been a gold digger too. The story caught fire. When Adrian arrived at a board meeting, he noticed the stares, the subtle questions. Reporters camped outside his mansion, asking if his new love was after his fortune. Sophia was hurt. That photo, it was from a fundraiser my cafe supported. I barely knew the man, but they're painting me as something I'm not. Adrian took her hand firmly. "I don't care what they say. I know who you are." But even as he said it, he felt the old fear stirring, the fear of betrayal. Chapter 13. The Breaking Point. One evening, Isabella appeared again, this time at Sophia's cafe. She walked in, heels clicking, smile poisonous. Customers turned their heads, whispers spreading. "Well, well," Isabella said sweetly. "This is the little empire you've built with his money." Sophia kept her composure. "This was built long before his card ever touched my hands." Isabella leaned close, voice sharp as a knife. "Enjoy it while it lasts. Men like him don't stay loyal. And when he leaves you, you'll have nothing." Sophia's eyes flashed. "Maybe you're right. Maybe one day he'll leave. But if he does, I'll still have my dignity. Something you lost long ago." Gasps rippled through the cafe. Isabella's face twisted with rage, but she left without another word. Adrian heard of the confrontation later. His respect for Sophia grew even deeper, but so did his worry. He knew Isabella's pride. She wouldn't stop until she destroyed what she couldn't have.